Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. As you guys can tell from the title, this is going to be a very touchy subject. With all this hype going on about the ketogenic diet, I mean the magic pill on Netflix just came out, which I haven't watched yet. More and more plant-based doctors and bloggers and YouTubers are talking about the ketogenic diet. All this hype and all this fuss is going on. I thought, why don't we just try it ourselves? And so my friend Miles from Healthy Crazy Cool and I have both decided to team up and try out the ketogenic diet for 3 weeks as an experiment. Now, you guys have all heard about the ketogenic diet and how it's unhealthy for you because it's high in animal fat and cholesterol and saturated fat and animal protein. But did you know that it could be done the vegan way? Me neither. And that's why we wanted to do this, because regardless of whether or not the ketogenic diet is healthy, and I'm not here to promote any diets, I'm not here to tell you you should be eating ketogenic diet, low carb, high fat. I'm here to do this experiment to, one, really let you guys know what it was like getting into ketosis and how it felt, and two, just to show you guys and prove that a ketogenic diet can be done with a plant emphasis, aka a vegan ketogenic diet. It kind of sounds like a unicorn in the diet world, right? A vegan diet is already restricted as it is. Why would we do a ketogenic diet? Because some people are freaking crazy and they just want to try it and they want to do it. And there are people out there who have been living a long-term lifestyle on a vegan ketogenic diet. They just haven't talked about it very publicly. Regardless of the good evidence, the bad evidence, the documentaries, the doctors, the YouTubers, the research, the whatever, people are naturally curious. They're going to want to know what it's like to be in the ketogenic state. And so why not do it in a vegan way? Why not do it with a diet that's higher in antioxidants, in fiber, water content than the animal version that is really, really bad for you? I'm not going to get into the science, but we pretty much know by now that animal protein and cholesterol and all of that kind of stuff is just not good for the body. This video is going to be all about that, so I hope you guys are ready and I hope you guys stay open-minded. Please know that this video is not a diet prescription. I am not claiming any health facts. I'm not saying coconut oil is healthy, eating high fat is the way for everybody to eat. Eating a ketogenic diet is how you should eat to gain health and muscle mass and performance. And I am also not a doctor, nor am I officially registered dietitian yet, so I'm speaking merely out of my own experience. This is just an experiment. Just as we experiment with what kind of flowers look the best in my living room in the springtime, this is also like an experiment with what does the ketogenic diet feel like. The only diet that I advocate is a whole foods plant-based diet, high in omega-3s, antioxidants, that makes you feel good and that makes you happy mentally with some balance. Everybody's body is unique, so one diet might work for someone else while another might work better for another person. And that's totally okay because we are all human, we're all different. And I'd also like to make the disclaimer that this is not representative of how I eat normally, nor am I going to be doing a ketogenic diet for the rest of my life, and I'm not promoting it either. I just wanted to share my experience with all of you beautiful people. So I feel like this intro has been long enough, and if you're ready to watch the video, please give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Well, liking is the same thing as thumbsing up it. Subscribe to this channel if you like what you're watching, and let's just get into it. And for those of you who don't know what a ketogenic diet is, it's basically one in which you eat very low carb, high fat, and moderate protein. The difference between a ketogenic diet and an Atkins diet, those two might get mixed up, is that an Atkins diet focuses more on low carb, high protein, and high fat, whereas a ketogenic diet has higher fats, moderate protein, and low in carbs. And when your body is that low in carbs for a consecutive amount of days, it starts to shift from using energy from glucose and glycogen stored in your liver and muscles to breaking down fat into ketones, which your body can use alternatively as energy. And people like to use the ketogenic diet as a fast way to break down fat, lose fat. That's just a lowdown, and I'm going to talk about my experience now. There are a couple bullet points that I want to get through. How we got into ketosis. There was a lot of planning. There was an extensive amount of planning. So much planning, it made my head hurt. I almost didn't want to do it. I had no idea, what do I eat? So I had to look up what to eat on a ketogenic diet, vegan. And I know that there are a couple of people who have gone vegan and ketogenic. There's actually Facebook groups that I joined so I could get some ideas and inspiration of what to eat and how to do it. There's a blog that I followed some recipes from called meatfreeketo.com that was really helpful. I listened to so many ketogenic podcasts to learn about the benefits of it, how people feel on it, what to do on it. I did so much research. Again, like I felt like my head was going to burst. Like it was all I surrounded myself for a couple weeks leading up to the ketogenic diet. A week or two leading up to the actual experiment, because we had both planned to do it at the same time, I decided to, we called it tapering. So I tapered down my food and I made it very low carb and higher in fat, but not necessarily following the ketogenic, which is like around 20 to 50 net carbs a day. And net carbs is the amount of carbs left over from the fiber. So like flax seeds and chia seeds, they do have a carb count in it, but like if you have 4 grams of carbohydrates in flax seeds, for example, 3 grams of it will be fiber, so it's really just like 1 net carb. I don't know the exact one, but I'm just like giving you an example. From there, I had to figure out, you know, like what did I want to eat? So there was so much meal planning and so much like meal prep the first week. I wanted to make sure that I got it right, and I wanted to make sure that I like actually got into ketosis because I wanted to do the experiment right, and I just like wanted to feel it for myself. And I followed it very strictly for the first week, and I was like, I have no idea like if I'm even in ketosis, like what am I doing wrong? I got those urine ketosis pee strips. Keto strips are not the most accurate way to measure the amount of ketones in your blood, but they do kind of tell you a snapshot of what it was like maybe when that urine was being formed and that blood was being filtered. The more accurate way is to actually test your blood, but I wasn't getting that serious with it. I just kind of wanted to get like a good idea of it. So I just got the keto urine strips, and the first week everything was light pink. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I had no idea. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I think it's because my protein was too high, because I was eating like a whole block of tofu every single day. Protein is also insulinogenic, and so that slows down the production of ketones in your body. At the end of the week and the next week following, I lowered my protein, raised my fat. I ate a lot of foods like nuts, seeds, avocados. I even added in coconut oil, which you guys know I do not agree that coconut oil is a health food, but for the sake of the experiment, I used coconut oil in order to reach ketosis faster. In the second week, I lowered my protein, raised my fat from avocados and coconut oil and whatnot, and I reached ketosis. And how do I know that I reached ketosis? It's just this weird, I feel like it just hit me one time. I feel like I was going through the keto flu very, very mildly, and keto flu is when you feel like lethargic, really thirsty, like kind of foggy. It's just your body transitioning from using glucose and glycogen as energy to using fat and ketones made from fat as energy. And so when your body is becoming fat adapted for the first time, people tend to go through the keto flu, which I believe I went through at the time that I was like, I don't know what's happening. Why am I not doing, like, what am I not doing right? And eventually when I like pinned it down and ate less protein and more fat, it was just this particular Sunday. I remember I was like driving and I realized I felt like this tingly sensation like going on in my body, and I felt like I was high, but I wasn't high. Like it was just like my body high. It was a very like euphoric feeling, I want to say. And I went to the grocery store and I was walking around Trader Joe's and I was like, all these colors just look so bright to me, and like I don't know what's happening right now. Wait, is this what ketosis feels like? I want to say that's that feeling, because the week following it just carried on and I felt a better sense of clarity and energy. So many things kind of cleared up for me. And I work right now as a dietetic intern in the diet office of a hospital, and a lot of it just requires so much brain work, and I felt like I was churning out so much information so well, and so much like more clear and fast and like less foggy than the first week and when I first started my internship. And I would have to attribute it to me being in that ketogenic state, but maybe I'm getting better at reading charts for patients as well, who knows. But I did notice my mental acuity was a little bit sharper. I felt like a little bit more focused, and I really, really enjoyed that feeling. In regards to the keto flu, other symptoms that I experienced were like having to go to the bathroom more and just feeling extremely thirsty all the time. I drank water and then I just still felt thirsty, and then I drank more water and I still felt thirsty. And I noticed that at the gym, when I was working out and lifting weights, I would get like muscle cramps, and even not at the gym but just at home sitting, my muscles would just twitch. And I looked it up and I realized that I needed to add more sodium and potassium into my diet, because you tend to let go of a lot of water, which lets go of a lot of electrolytes, which are really important for your muscles and just the fluid balance in your body. And so I incorporated more sodium into my diet by sprinkling on more pink Himalayan sea salts into my food, and eating more potassium rich foods such as almonds, spinach, and avocados. When I looked it up on forums, by the way, doing this diet definitely took a lot of like, what's wrong with me? Look it up. Go on the Facebook page, type the search word in, look it up, see what other people have experienced. And when I looked on the forums, I noticed that people were talking about their potassium intake and having to get like an electrolyte supplement and potassium pills and stuff like that. And I think if I were to follow this diet for a longer time, then that's something that I would go to. But I knew that I would only be following it for about 3 weeks, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me. So those were the keto flu symptoms that I experienced. Next, I want to talk about hunger, cravings, and satiety. And I guess we can throw in like my mental relationship with food. You would think that lowering your carb amount to 20 to 50 grams of net carbs a day would make you more hungry, but I was actually very, very satisfied all day long, and it was because of the fat content that I was eating. I want to say that I was lowering carbs, raising my fat, so I wasn't restricting calories or energy or anything like that. I was merely changing up the macronutrient ratio of my intake. So I noticed, because of eating such high fat and low carb, I was extremely satisfied with my meals every day. Even if they weren't those humongous bowls that you guys know that I love to eat, they were still so full of micronutrients because I ate a lot of dense leafy greens and nuts and seeds and tahini and avocado and vegetables. My body just felt satisfied. It felt like it was getting everything it needed. Normally on a high carb low fat diet, like for example when I was following Raw Till 4, after my meals physically I would feel so full, but I would still want more, and that's a sign of a micronutrient deficiency, or that your body isn't getting the right amount or balance of macronutrients and micronutrients. But when I was eating ketogenic, I noticed that after my meals I was like full, and I didn't feel like I wanted to eat more. Normally I'm a night nibbler. I like to nibble on food after I eat dinner, but I just didn't feel like it. And I felt like my cravings also subsided. I wasn't really craving any more fruit, any more sweets, any more potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, bread. Before I went into it, I kept complaining and I was like, I'm gonna miss my chocolate. I'm not gonna be able to eat bread or pasta or anything like that. And when I was eating my food, when I was in the ketogenic diet, I didn't even crave it. It's so weird that I didn't crave it. I actually started to crave more things like celery and almond butter. Like of all things, I was craving almond butter. And I think my body really needed this, because for such a long time while I was on the vegan diet, I ate such high carb, low fat that I think my body just needed to know that it's okay to eat whatever you want to eat. It's okay to eat whatever macronutrient you need. And like, I feel like this was a good balance for myself personally. Now I could have just as easily done it on a low carb, high fat diet, but you know, I gotta take it to the extreme and make sure people know that they could do a ketogenic diet a vegan way, vegan style. I definitely felt satisfied with all of my meals, with everything that I was eating, and I was tracking everything that I ate into Chronometer the first week, and I hit all of my micronutrient goals. It was insane. I looked at it and I was like, wow, everything's green, obviously except for vitamin D3 and B12, which I did supplement throughout. I hit all of those goals, and I was just like really proud of myself, because I didn't think that I would be able to do that on a ketogenic diet using whole plant foods, but I did it. And a lot of you are going to ask about exercise performance, and I think it's really ironic how this morning when I was planning out what to say in this video, I got an email from PCRM, which is the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and they actually were saying that a ketogenic diet and low carb diets are not the best for anaerobic exercise. I do not think that being on a ketogenic diet has helped my gym performance at all. If anything, it probably like lowered the amount of exercise that I could do. But to be honest, I didn't mind at all, because I am so busy with my internship and school and keeping up with social media, creating content for you guys, that fitness for me right now, it's not like my main focus in life. And so it was okay that my workouts were cut shorter. It's okay that I wasn't focused on pushing the highest strength. It's okay that I wasn't hitting PRs every single workout. For me, that was totally fine. I know that the ketogenic diet could be used in a really efficient way, especially in like Ironmans and triathlons. For me personally, it just like didn't really help my anaerobic exercise. I noticed that my aerobic exercise capacity definitely did increase, like cardio. I would walk every day in the morning just to get rid of any extra glycogen storages that might be there so I could stay in ketosis. And I noticed that my cardio went up a lot and more efficiently, and cardio was getting easier and easier for me those 3 weeks. So that's definitely like a change that I did notice, but it's really interesting because you would think with less carbs your cardio would go down, but it actually went up and my strength went down. As for weight loss, a lot of the weight loss that you experience is water weight. I did lose a couple pounds while I was doing the ketogenic diet, and as soon as I stopped, as soon as I started eating more carbs, I just went right back to my normal weight. But I did notice that I was a lot leaner. Again, that's probably because of the water loss. I'm sure that if I had done the ketogenic diet for an extended period of time, so longer than 3 weeks, which is what a lot of people normally do. But to be honest with you guys, like, I don't really care too much about losing any fat. I don't really have that much to lose anyway. I just wanted to experience the feeling of ketosis, so I wasn't really doing it for any aesthetic look or fat loss or muscle gain or anything like that. It was more like, how does it feel? Can you do it vegan? That's all I wanted to know. One of my favorite side effects of the ketogenic diet, and actually just eating a low carb, higher fat diet in general, is digestion. I have no idea what exactly it is, but once I cut out the grains from my diet and once I cut out like extra starches from my diet, my digestion started to flow so much better. Everything was regular. In the morning, boom, there it is. Pretty much a baby fetus, because that's what it was. Like, I really felt like it was the size of a fetus every single morning, and it was like clockwork. It was really, really nice. I also really liked that I went to bed not feeling extremely bloated. Once I cut out like the grains and stuff like that, my digestion started to flow a lot better. Now, I'm not promoting gluten-free. I'm not promoting that you guys cut out grains. I'm simply saying this from my own perspective, from my own body. Everybody is different and everybody processes food differently, but I noticed that for myself, when I go gluten-free, when I went gluten-free, and I guess just like starch-free in general, my digestion cleared up. And I theorized that maybe it's because my ancestors were brought up in an environment without wheat, and so me genetically, maybe my body and like my microbiome DNA and stuff is more receptive to not having wheat than it is with wheat. Although I do love bread and I digest it just fine, but I noticed that my digestion is so much better on the ketogenic diet. I don't know if it's appropriate for me or right for me to connect the 2 and 2, but that's just my theory for myself. So socially, it was kind of hard because I wanted to make sure that I was in ketosis the whole time, and I didn't even want to go over on like my actual carbs, even with vegetables, because I didn't want there to be like me being kicked out of ketosis. It was like a little difficult to kind of calculate what I was going to eat. I ate before I went to family events or family parties, or I just had like veggies and avocado or guacamole or something, whatever was there, but mostly the main bulk of my meals I made. And I know this would have been a lot harder if I weren't at my internship every single day from like 8 to 5 and then just like in my apartment. If I were living with my parents, with my family, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it, just because food is such a social thing around us and it's like an expression of love, and me not being able to partake in that would just be so hard. So I guess me being alone in these past couple weeks was a lot easier for this diet, but it would be a lot harder like socially. The day before I was supposed to break the ketogenic diet, I actually ended up breaking it anyway because my brother wanted to go to a Chinese restaurant that was all vegan, and I was like, I'm not going to turn that down. So I went with him and I just broke the experiment a little bit early. But you know what? You gotta do some things for your mental health too. And I was pretty much already done with the ketogenic diet experiment, so I was a-okay with that. So my overall thoughts, I would recommend this diet to anybody who is curious and wants to try it, or somebody who has epilepsy and is a child, but that's basically it. I know there's a lot more research on ketogenic diets coming up more and more, so if you're interested in it, please do more research and, you know, be careful, be cautious, make sure you're getting in what you need in terms of macronutrients as well as micronutrients. Although I did really appreciate and enjoy the feeling of being in ketosis and like the energy that I got, the brain power that I had, my sleep was so good. I don't know why, but like my sleep was so good. As much as I enjoyed those things, I did not enjoy the fact that I had to still count the carbs in my vegetables, because even if I ate like a whole head of romaine lettuce, which you would think is low carb, it still has like a big chunk of net carbs. I didn't really like the fact that I had to track everything. I like to eat large portions of food too, and so like I want to be able to eat as many vegetables as I want without thinking about it. And if I want, I do want to eat chocolate whenever I want and just nibble on random things at night. And I love ketchup and putting ketchup on things, and in a ketogenic diet that's just like a no-no. The lack of freedom in what I want to eat and having to track what I'm eating in order for me to know that I'm still in ketosis are the things that I didn't really like about the diet. The social aspect was very hard as well. The planning was really cumbersome, but I feel like with any diet it needs to be well planned out, even a vegan diet, in order to make sure that you're getting everything that you need. I noticed that the second week and the third week I was pretty much freestyling it because I knew like the amount of foods, because I had practiced that first week so meticulously. I also wanted to experience this diet in case I ever run into clients in the future who want to try out a ketogenic diet or who have a health condition that a ketogenic diet has been shown to improve. I would like to be able to prescribe that to somebody for the short term and let them know like, hey, it could be done vegan, whole foods, very healthily, because I have done it and I would only feel comfortable with prescribing something to someone that I have myself experienced. As for a weight loss tool, yes, the ketogenic diet can help you lose weight, but there are so many other more sustainable, better ways to lose weight that don't make you go crazy, that allow you to eat the foods that you like without stressing out too hard about it, without constantly thinking about the body processes like biochemically going on at the moment that you are breathing, living, sleeping, eating. One more important thing that I forgot to mention is the importance of your omega-3 to 6 balance. I had to make sure that I was eating foods high in omega-3s versus omega-6s. So I ate a lot of omega-3 rich foods such as walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds, and hemp seeds. A lot of seeds made up the basis of my diet, and I felt really good on that. But it is important to make sure that you are getting a good ratio. I think I got a 4-to-1 ratio. You want to try to get as close to 1-to-1 as possible. That's another thing to make sure you're getting, not only on a ketogenic diet, but just in your diet overall. You want to make sure you're getting a lot of healthy sources of omega-3s into your diet, because it is so good for your hair, your skin, your nails. And before I forget, my skin also felt really, really good and soft and very hydrated. It's insane how when I increase the whole food plant fats in my diet, my skin just improves so much. I know that there are a lot of people who start to break out or not have as good skin when they increase their fat intake, and this is where, again, everybody's body is different. Everybody's body is unique, and so what works for me might not work for you. Would I ever do this again? I definitely see myself doing this again sometime in the future for, again, a couple of weeks, just cause, like, maybe just for fun. But for now, I'm really enjoying eating a higher fat, lower in carb diet. Overall, it was a really fun experience, but I'm glad it's over because...
What are they selling? Chocolate! What?
Chocolate. I feel like I've been talking for ages, but... Before I say my outro, I'd also like to say one more thing about the ketogenic diet that I also forgot to mention in that super lengthy discussion that you guys were all just watching. I really believe that eating this way, if you took away the fact that it was ketogenic and the fact that it is like super, super low carb, if you look at the actual nutritional content of it, I reached all of my macronutrient goals, my micronutrient goals, eating whole plant foods. Yes, there was some coconut oil, but that was because I was like perfectionist and I kind of wanted to like hit ketosis by eating higher fat. But apart from that, if you don't focus so much on that kind of stuff and you focus on the nuts and the seeds, the avocados, the greens, the vegetables, the fiber, and everything else that went along with it, I truly believe that this way was pretty healthy. It just, again, it depends on your body and what sustains you. And I hope that by me saying it's healthy, you guys don't take my words out of my mouth, twist them, and then regurgitate them back onto the internet and say that I'm promoting a diet that is unhealthy because it's high in fat or saturated fat. I'm just saying that the way that I ate definitely hit all of my micronutrient goals, macronutrient goals as well. All right, back to you, Amanda. I really appreciate all of you guys watching, and if you did find it kind of helpful, somewhat, or interesting, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe for more content like what I eat in a days, stuff about veganism, stuff about me becoming a dietitian, and like my career and school and stuff. Turn on those notifications so you know exactly when I am posting. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning, noon, day, or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye.